Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Conversations with Luciana, the house that Luciana has built, where everyone has a place at the table. If you're a new listener, I bring you greetings and salutations. If you are a returning listener, welcome back, family. Real talk on real issues, real life situations. Keep in mind, advice is never given, but opinions and a new perspective is always welcome. You can find me on most podcast streaming services as well as YouTube under Conversations with Luciana. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Make sure to turn on your notifications to know when the next Conversation with Luciana are posted. My posting schedule is as follows: Motivational Monday, Inspirational Empowerment Tuesday, Open Forum Thursday, Coffee and Tea with Luciana on Sundays. YouTube exclusives are on Mondays and Saturdays. If you would like to submit a topic of conversation or be a guest on a podcast episode of Conversations with Luciana, email me at conversationswithluciana@gmail.com. Look forward to speaking with you soon. Have a good one. Let's go. I did my first Fall Sisterhood series wherever you stream your podcast. And then I decided, you know what? I want to take it to another level. And I want to just talk about sisterhood, just sisterhood in general. And I was having a conversation with a friend of mine today. And we were talking about certain things that ails us as we get older, right? And we shouldn't be, as women, be embarrassed to talk about certain things that are happening to our body and our mind. First, let me tell you the conversation that we had was about a story I was telling her. And she said, "You told me that story before." I said, "Did I? I completely forgot." Thank goodness that she always gave me a safe place to land. I wasn't embarrassed. I was like, oh, because some people get offended. And that's all. No, I didn't know. They'll tell you a different spin on the story. No, I told her the story before. That was the first conversation. And we laughed. And I said, no, 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 no. If I do that, I want you to stop me and tell me, because I don't remember. It's not that I'm claiming Alzheimer's dementia. It's just like sometimes you get the days get ahead of you and you don't remember what you're doing the next moment to the next. And you need that friend to tell you, nah, you told me that story before. And so we laughed about it on. And then I said, look, can I share something with you? And I went on to share just certain things that I feel that are happening to my body and that I don't like it. And how, one day you can be perfectly fine. Next thing you know, you feel like your whole inside is coming out through the bottom half of your body. What is that? And she began to share what her experience were. And then my experience was, and we were okay. We were okay, but women don't share those stories. There is no competition. Really, there's not any competition. And this wall that we have put up, we need to, tear it down for real, because we need to share life ups and downs and health issues and health scares and concern with each other and not be ashamed. Now, I would say we also talked about where women do not drink enough water, and some people, you got the yoga pants wearing, exercise wearing people that, act like they don't put on real clothes, and every day they're doing some type of yoga pose or Pilates or spin psych. No, you just wear it because it makes your body look good, and you want to give the illusion that you're working out. We know you, we see you, but it's also to, take care of your body from the inside, from within, right? Mind, body, and spirit. But, she was telling me a story about a young lady who never drank water. And she said that her pee smelled like strong ammonia. And how embarrassing is that? And it's like, you never drink water. You need to cleanse your system. Your pee should not have a smell to it. And nor should it have any. And I'm not a medical professional. I'm just saying. It shouldn't have, like something's in it, like a cloudness, or or you have a foul order. You need to go to the doctor and get that checked out. But we were just sharing how people don't, they're embarrassed. They're embarrassed to say that they don't drink enough water. They're embarrassed to say that they smell like a dead rat and crawled up to them inside of them, and it's causing them to make that smell potent, and where you can smell it and other people can smell it too, and you're embarrassed to go to the doctor, which OBGYNs are for, to try to help you, clean that up or take care of that. And I remember asking my doctor, just in general, because I never wanted to have that type of problem, hygiene problem. And I was explaining to him what it was. Yes, my doctor is a him. Some people don't prefer men doctors. I don't really particularly care. I have both of them. And I love my doctor, OBGYN. He's the best. He's very funny. He reminds me of Shaggy Doo. But anyway, Shaggy from Scooby Doo. Anyway, you guys like, okay. Anyway, meanwhile, he was saying no, if it's a smell like you want to go to the doctor and get that checked out and get some antibiotics so you can clear up that, because that can cause problems later. We fight for women's right, women issues, women health issues. Again, it's not about it's not about the great divide or the division. It's about us having a conversation. And some young people, young women, think that they got it all under control. They never see a doctor until something's wrong. They don't know why they have certain things that are happening to their body. And instead of talking to someone who's medically professional, they just go untreated and they cause more harm than good. But we need to start having those conversations, not in relationships, and how we navigate them, how successful, or motherhood. We need to talk to the individual woman, the person, the little girl, the young lady, the adult woman. We need to talk and have those conversations. Why are you afraid to go get a mammogram? What's the problem? Don't. I heard. I had a relative say to me, they don't want to know if something's wrong. They just want to die. And I'm like, what? But that's people thinking. We need to get colonoscopy. We need to do that. We need to make sure that we're doing, you know, that we don't rob ourselves and our loved ones from the gift of us. So you need to have. I believe in getting physicals. I believe in going to the doctor, getting physical, all my blood work. And it's not that because I feel like I used to say I'm a hypochondriac. It's like, no, I just want to be healthy. That's what was embedded in me as a kid. You went to the dentist and you went to the doctor. You got your checkup, Especially, there are things that we do not know. We do not know, and we need to not self-diagnose ourselves. And we should not depend on Google or someone else based on their experience tell us how we should do, our body's going to respond to certain things. And you have to be careful. If you are going to be promiscuous and have a different relationship with a lot of different partners, then you need to get checked out. You really need to take care of yourself. I remember the most mind-boggling story I've heard was a person that he had herpes, she had herpes, and they were okay because they were just had herpes together. What is that? That's justification of stupidity. That's what it is. Justification of stupidity. You justify the lie, meaning you don't want to admit that you got it from him or that you gave it to him, and so you just in ignorant bliss, and then you guys are going to just be together. But you know what? It's still not right. It's still not cool. Again, women's rights are being debated in courts when it shouldn't be. It should not be, but it is. We should be outraged. We should be outraged. And some are doing the things, but we need to have those conversations, those real conversation. Menopause, premenopause, breast cancer. We used to talk about ovarian cancer. We need to talk about, what's going on with you mentally, not only physically. We need to talk about hair loss. We need to talk about things that normally people sweep under the rug. I remember back in, growing up, that there were certain things that you didn't talk about. I remember two women that grew up on the street where I lived, and they were active. They were with their children, and we knew them. And come to find out, all of a sudden you saw them walking, and then you didn't see them anymore. And then next thing you know, they passed away. They passed away, and no one really said anything, but they passed away from cancer, breast cancer. Back in the day, there was no, you need to get tested, regularly. And now you have the technology, and people don't get tested. Earlier detection can possibly save your life, but we don't do those things. We don't do certain things that we need to do. And I'm not saying that everything is going to turn out perfect because we got checked out. But sometimes if something is wrong, you insist on being checked out, and you don't stop until I always say you have to be an advocate for yourself, an advocate for your loved one or your friend, because you do not know. You do not know. You do not just take status quo. When I say status quo, you just don't take what somebody says, okay, that's it, that's all. No, there's more to that. If you're feeling like the weight of the world is on you and it's heaviness, I'm going to check you out. I'm going to call and make sure that you're good, right? If you have a cold and it turns into I'm talking about horrific cough, and you have a fever, I'm like, you need to go to the doctor. You need to get that checked out. But we as women need to stop being ashamed of having a conversation. Even men, even young men, you need to get a colonoscopy. You need to get your prostate checked. You need to do certain things. You need to get your hearing checked. You need to get your glasses, eyes checked out. You do. You need to make sure that, you can memorize certain things. It's not okay to walk around with blinders on. You have to know that you know that you know. And I'm not saying that everything will be okay, but at least you will know that you will be okay because you did your due diligence. So often, we hear about people that pass away. What if they would have done this? What if they would have done that? Well, what if you would have been? What if you would have took the initiative to say, hey, you know what? I know you're not feeling well. You've been dealing with that stomach issue for the last 2 weeks. Let's go to the doctor. Let's go to the doctor. And the sad part about it is the younger generation does not believe in health coverage. It's too expensive. You need to get checked out. And one thing that I do like about other countries, in Canada and the European countries, healthcare is free. It's free. We need to do that. We need to provide some type of health assurance, not insurance, that people can go to the doctors and get checked out. Some women never go to the doctor until they're pregnant and they're about to have a baby, and that's the only time they go to a doctor. You need a doctor, even if you have to go to a clinic, even if you have to do that. There are people that are doing that. That's their job. And they know they could be in a hospital, but they choose to provide adequate care to you. You can't take and a pill a day and keep the disease and infection away. You need to be proactive, not reactive, right? But we need to have those conversations. It's amazing how we talk about relationship and how we need to navigate and understand and be this and be that, but we don't talk about health issues. We do not talk about that odor that's coming from your mouth because you got a rotten tooth, or internally something is telling you that something is wrong. We don't talk about that. Every story that we see on social media is not going to be a guy and a girl. Some of these conversations need to go a little deeper. What is I'm trying to get that word, psychologically bothering you? We can't self-diagnose. No, we're not trying to do that at all. And you need to seek medical professionals when you're going through things like that. But we need to talk about that. We need to talk about what you feel, what's going on in your head, what voices is telling you to do what. We need to talk about that. You can't drink your life away, and you cannot do drugs enough to escape the pain from within. Childhood trauma and scars can haunt you into your adulthood, but you need to have that conversation. You need to have those type of conversations. And when we were talking, me and my friend today, she reiterated that it's important that we have those conversations. We talk about that. You learn from each other, to do better, to want to do better. And so to get ahead of some things, you can't predict the future. You cannot predict the future. Really, you can't. But you can do your part to do your due diligence. There are some women in their 70s and 80s look fabulous. They can move. Who said that you have to suffer through arthritis and pain and all this? You can move. You can be active. You might be a little slower, but you need to get there. And sad that some young people are not going to get to that age. They're not going to see their 25th, their 50th, their 75th birthday. They're not. You know, Again, you can have it all. And then in one diagnose, wipe out your whole future. But you need to take care of yourself. And now they're saying that if your family has a history of certain cancers, that you need to get checked out sooner. You can't wait. And I also want to talk about, it's very important that we don't talk about, we talk about the body and we talk about the mind. Do we talk about our eyes? Do we talk about our hearing? You're blasting music and you have all these things going on, and it affects your hearing where you cannot hear. You cannot see. You need glasses. Okay, you have a stigmatism. You need stigma about your eyes. You need to check that out. You can't, put on the filters and the fantasies. Well, I should say you can't put on the filters and hopefully, you can just say, okay, I can just turn it on and turn it off. You need eyeglasses. You don't need the eye laser surgery because probably your stigmatism is too bad. You need to get that checked out. But again, we need to have those conversations, and more often than we do. You know, we're right now we're dealing with the whole, we're still dealing with the COVID and the mask, and people will argue down by getting the flu shot. They don't want to get the flu shot. Well, you need that layer of insurance. But how many people get the tetanus? How many people get all the other, when vaccination, when you were a kid you got vaccinated, and when you get older you stop getting those shots. When do you get your blood work done? you know um Things that, and then you want to know what's going on with your body. But yeah, it's important. I was thankful for us having that conversation and not being ashamed of talking about it. You know what I mean? You can't be ashamed. You gotta talk about certain things and have those uncomfortable conversations. But it's not like when our grandparents, it's just like they shh. You get pregnant, they send you away to Louisiana or somewhere, and then you come back, and then that's your little brother. That's actually your son, but that's your little brother. No, we need to have those conversations. Don't let young people, men, young women, or young men suffer in silence. We got to stop. We got to end. We got to end that stigma. I'm talking about stigmatism, but I'm talking about we got to end that. We need to stop that. We need to be able to have a conversation. And some people are suffering and hurting internally and we don't know. And you need to find that person and have a safe place to land. And what I mean by that is like you need to be able to talk what ails you, what concerns you, what bothers you, who's bothering you, right? You need to do that. You can act out in violence or act out in other ways where your sexuality is being exploited because you don't know how to handle all these emotions and these feelings of the things that are happening. We need to talk about that, but I'm so encouraged. I said, oh, I'm going to do a podcast because I think it's important. Women health and men health, state of mind, physically and mentally are important to talk about it. It should be more than you bashing somebody on public, in the public, in the news media, or on social media. Bipolar is a real thing. We need to talk about that. You can't go around calling people crazy. We have to talk about those things and do it in a way that is constructive and not counterproductive, right? So I thank you so much for joining in Sisterhood. Although I threw a man in there, I do want to do a series on sisterhood. We need to learn from each other. You know, you don't have the patent on this. You don't have the being a woman on lockdown that nobody can access it. We all need to do that, and we need to not to be ashamed and don't put shame on other people. We need to talk about it and be about it, and we're better together. So that being said, I'm going to do Sisterhood Part 2. Not Sister Act, that's a movie, but we want to talk about certain things and just keep the dialogue going. Keep the communication flowing and these conversation overflowing where we are united as one to help one another to be better for tomorrow. Thank you, and I will talk to you soon. Peace. Thank you for listening to another podcast episode of Conversations with a Luciana. I look forward to speaking with you again. Until then, be kind to yourself and others. Make every day your best day. Stay encouraged and press forward, for the best is yet to come. Peace, and I'm out. Let's go.